this video, I'm going to talk about how to stop your girl from cheating. Sharp King here, coming at you with another video from ChooseYourRelationships.com, author of which can be found on Amazon.com. And I did a video a couple of weeks ago talking about marriage, the politics of marriage, and what comes with being married, and who you're getting involved with when you get married, why that's important. And a lot of people kind of took the video the wrong way, I think. I'm not against marriage, not at all. I just like to make people aware of what's marriage all about and why it's so important. You should know who you're getting involved with and the politics that comes along with it, and how it came about, and why marriage is failing in this country, and it's starting to spread around the world, you know, and why a lot of guys just don't want to have anything to do with marriage and what's marriage is all about. So that's you know, I talk about a lot of that stuff because I hear very little people talk about it, you know, and I'm very qualified to talk about marriage, you know, because I got married, and plus I have I met a lot of different types of women at this point. You know, I can honestly say at this point in my life, I've met probably every type of woman you could probably think of. And I mean, when I say that, I mean, you name any type of woman. I don't care if she's on the corner. I don't care if she's an escort. I don't care if she works in corporate America. I don't care if she's a head of a bar, at the hostess bar. I don't care what type of woman she is. I don't care if she married within a traditional marriage or open marriage or any type of open relationship, polygamy. I've met every type of woman you can probably think of at this point in time in my life. So I'm highly qualified to talk about relationships, marriage, all that shit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. It just wouldn't make any sense. I wouldn't be able to get so deep into some of the conversations that I have in these videos. So, you know, when it comes to cheating, there's no guarantees in anything. The only thing that you're guaranteed is one day you're going to die. All we can do is all we can do until that's enough. And once that happens, once you've done all you can do, and if it still doesn't work out, sometimes you just got to keep it moving, man. Just learn from your mistakes, try not to make the same mistake over again, and keep it moving. Sometimes you got to charge some people to the game. But what I can say is, when you're in a relationship with a woman, you got to keep in mind, women are very emotional. So everything they do, for the most part, is going to be based on how she feels. For the most part. Now, there's some women out here that's been raised by their mothers to just go for the money. Forget character and all these other characteristics of a person. And forget knowing who he is and knowing what he's all about. Forget all that. Now, there's some women that were raised like that, which is not the best way to raise your daughter, to go straight for the money. But there's a lot of women out there like that. Now, those types of women, they have a different mindset. So that person is going to be in a relationship for different reasons. So what I'm about to say in this video doesn't really pertain to those type of women. You got to handle those types of women in a different type of way. And I'll get into that in another video. But assuming that you got with a woman, and let's say you have a traditional relationship, y'all get married, maybe y'all live together for a long time in the same household, and let's say, you know, y'all been having good sex, and some guys will say, well, how do I continue having good sex so I won't get bored or get stale or we become stagnant? And how do I avoid my woman cheating on me? And what I would say is, if you can tap into a woman's emotions, see, there's this old saying that goes, wherever the mind goes, the rest will follow. So wherever the mind, if you can get her mind, the body is going to go along with it. See, because the body never lies. So if you can tap into her emotions, and you tap into her emotions through, you know, your talk game. You tap into her emotions through, you know, your actions, just your listening skills, you know, and your stroke game. You know, your stroke game got to be tight. You know, this is probably one of the most important things. See, if your talk game is right, your stroke game got to be off the charts. See, a lot of guys are kind of slacking with the stroke game. And a lot of women, unfortunately, are not being fulfilled out here. See, a lot of guys, when they meet women, they just assume that they're being fulfilled. They assume that they're having good sex. They might be having sex, but they're not being fulfilled. Some of these women haven't had an orgasm like ever. Never had one. Don't know what it feels like. Don't know what she likes in most cases. So there's a lot of sex going on out here, but it ain't no good sex. It's lame at best in most cases. So if you can tap into her emotions with your talk game and back that up with your stroke game and continuously do that for a long period of time, because, you know, everything starts in the mind for the most part, and the rest will follow. So if you can continuously do that for long periods of time, months, years, and reinvent yourself, reinvent whatever you've been trying to do or whatever you've been doing, and or upgrade to something else that's a little bit different, you're gonna turn that woman out, man. And I've done this a few times. You know, I've done this a few times. I know guys that do this. I know some males and females, this is their game. Their whole game is, they play the long game when they meet men and women. I know men and women that do this. When they meet guys and girls, they play the long game. Their whole game is to turn the men and women out sexually, have them like addicted to them. So, because they know if that happens, there's a good chance that this person is not going to want sex elsewhere. They're not going to have a need to want sex elsewhere, because they don't really have time. Along with work, you got the kids, you got hobbies, family, all that stuff. You don't really have time to be lurking elsewhere. And even if you're around certain environments with men and women or people of different sexes, you won't really be in that, you know, in that type of vibe where it's like you're in lack. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of women and a lot of guys, they already understand this, you know. But see, a lot of guys get caught up and say, well, those other women, they like those guys that don't got their stuff together, You know what I'm saying? Why should I waste my time doing all this? And she gonna cheat anyway. Nah, that's not, oh, they like the bad boys. That shit is overrated, man. You know what I'm saying? That shit is really overrated. Really. A lot of times, if a woman says she likes a bad boy, whatever that is, that's usually has to do with her upbringing. That's usually has to do with her upbringing. How she, the environment she was raised in, and how she was raised, and who she was raised by. Maybe her dad was like that. Maybe her dad was that type of guy. Maybe her mom was that type of person. Maybe she grew up in an environment that shaped how she thinks, shaped how she sees relationships. Maybe she witnessed her parents interacting in a certain type of way. And so what happens in most cases is a lot of these women will get older, they'll go to college and everything, and they'll try to conform to the norm. They'll try to conform around the guys that they went to school with. And it doesn't work. And then they'll revert back to what they know best, which are the guys that she grew up around in the neighborhood or in the environment where she's from. So don't let that deter you, you know, because there's this term in business called pre-framing, right? Where, you know, you can kind of like, either you or something, like, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to introduce a woman to somebody, or a man, vice versa, man or woman to somebody, and you can actually talk them into a good situation. You can say something like, hey, I got somebody I want you to meet. They're cool as hell. She's a beautiful person. She's very supportive, nurturing, blah, 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 blah. You say all the good shit, right? And by the time this guy meets this woman, 9 times out of 10, she's gonna think she's so nice. She's very kind, very cool, laid back, all that good stuff. And the reason why he's gonna think that, because you said all the good stuff about her ahead of time. So you pre-frame his way of thinking, his perception ahead of time. So that's a term in business that they use a lot. They use it a lot in sales. They use it a lot in marketing too. Whereas like you can pre-frame, you basically give an image of a person before y'all even met. You know what I'm saying? And you can do that with yourself. You don't need anyone else to do it. But if someone else does it, like a mutual friend, it works even better. Really. You know? You can do this through email. You can do this just meeting a person for the first time. You know, you can do this in you can give a person an image of an experience that you want them to have around you ahead of time. And by the time y'all get to that environment, or before y'all even have that experience, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a good one, because you condition them with an image ahead of time, you know. And this shit works like, you know, it's like a game of psychology, you know. Really, that's all it is, really, you know. So in business, they call it pre-framing. That's all it is, you know. So it's it works better, probably works better if you have a mutual friend that can kind of co-sign you, whatever. I've done it many times, you know. It's like, especially if you have another woman that co-signs you, it works even better then, you know. But basically, if you can get someone to co-sign you and say good stuff about you, and then by the time y'all meet the other person, the conversation is going to go well 9 times out of 10. Or it can go in reverse too. If the person says in the middle says some negative stuff about you, it's going to go left. it's not going to go well. So either or. This happens all the time. A lot of people do this automatically without even thinking about it. They be pre-framing people ahead of the time or whatever. But the moral to the story is, if you can turn a woman out, and basically what's going to happen over a long period of time, she's going to be conditioned. You're going to condition her to a certain amount of treatment, a certain amount of attention, a certain amount of sexual addiction. Basically, that's what it really is. You can condition a woman to behave in a certain type of way, or get used to getting sex from you in a certain type of way. And what's going to happen is it's going to be very difficult for her to leave you. It's going to be very difficult for her to cheat on you, because she's going to be sitting around like, shit, already got it good at home already. So, I don't really think I can really find another guy to do all this shit. So it's going to be very difficult. I'm not saying that this is a full bulletproof guaranteed way, but what I can say is it's going to be very difficult for a woman to seek sex elsewhere. It's going to be very difficult for a woman to leave you after you done turned her out. That's all I'm saying. Really, So that's basically how you minimize a woman from cheating on you. That's basically it. And I've done this many times. I know people around me, males and females, that do this shit. This is nothing new. This is nothing complicated. You just, this comes with life experience. That's all. Now there's some guys, some younger guys, that turn women out, but they don't, that's not their MO. That's not their intent. They're just doing it because they just want to have a good sex. But when I do this, this is my intention, because I don't accept every woman that comes into my life. I don't accept every woman's offer to sleep with me. I'm very selective. I'm very selective on who I sleep with and how far I'm willing to go with her in the sack. That's how I roll. But this comes with experience. This doesn't happen overnight. This doesn't happen when you're 21, 25. I doubt it, 25. So hey, if you like what you heard, subscribe to my channel, share this video with anybody that you think would like it. Check out my website, chooseyourrelationships.com. Go get all the gear, my books, Love Can't Wait, hoodies, t-shirts, all that good stuff. And get on my list. If you go to my website, get on my email list. It's going to be on the right side of the page. If you put your name and your email address in there, I'll send you emails. I talk about a lot of stuff in email that I don't talk about here on video. So hey, until next time, I'm out. Peace!